Hi, thank you so much for coming back to Sarita Talks. Once more, another amazing, fabulous person. The man's name is Sturdy. Doesn't get much better than that. Old Sturdy McKee. I love saying it like that. Sturdy is so gracious to come on our show today because it's always about learning something. And Sturdy is a coach. First of all, let me tell you how important coaches are. Whew, you've got to have one, especially as a small business owner. Sturdy, I'm going to turn it over to you because you know the name of the show is Sarita Talk, so I just love to talk, but it's about you. Tell us exactly where you're at, what you're doing, and something you're passionate about, because I'm sure it's coaching.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm Sturdy. I'm in San Francisco. Been here for quite a long time, and so had a business, had a PT, a physical therapy business. I went to PT school back in the '90s and had a physical therapy business that we expanded out and grew, and for over 20 years. And then for about the past 9 years, I've been working with business owners, not just in the rehab space, but all over. To help them grow and scale their businesses. And there are a bunch of lessons I learned from my business, a bunch of lessons I've learned from working with a lot of other owners, right? But
Okay.
um, the most immediate one, particularly for anybody out there who's like in a small business or starting a business or wants to start a business, is I was the same. And there's a really good resource to read it. The E-Myth is a book. Just do a summary on ChatGPT. But
Okay.
basically, there are three types of work: technical, managerial, and entrepreneurial. And what most people do when they go out and start a business, and I'm saying this because I was this person, they're technically good, they're good at the technical work. They're good at the thing that they do. So whether they're a plumber or a lawn care or a doctor or an attorney or whatever, they're good at that thing, but they don't know the first thing very often, or at least I didn't, about the management of other people, working with other people like
Mm-hmm.
that, or
You're not alone.
strategy. Oh no, well,
Yeah, that's a Michael
it's a
Jackson.
big,
You are not alone.
totally,
I've done that
but
too. Yeah.
that's a really important message though for everybody to
Mm-hmm.
hear, right? Because when they go out and do this, they feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they feel isolated a lot of times, and also start realizing very quickly, oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of stuff I don't know, or I don't know how to do this, and it's frustrating too when you're not making progress because a lot of these folks are really good at the thing they do,
Yeah.
but they need to know how to do all the other stuff. So, from, bookkeeping to marketing to recruiting to all of it, there's a whole bunch of other stuff happening in the business. Even getting your first customer is a
Yeah.
big deal, right? And
And I think it's really
anyway,
hard for
that's
entrepreneurs too, because sometimes people are like, oh, you're crazy. Why would you want to start a business?
oh
Why don't you just
sure,
go work for somebody else? And then you don't have anyone close to you that you can really confide in or vent to that sees the mission and the do you encounter that a lot?
you're absolutely on point
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, and I come from that kind of background too, right? Where you were supposed to get a job, ideally work for the government, go to the military, do something where you have a retirement package, you have a defined structure to all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I realize now that I was an entrepreneur before I even knew that was a word or how to spell it, right?
Yeah.
It's always been part of it. I bought a lawnmower when I was 12 years old and went out, to people's houses and said, hey, can I cut your grass?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I was selling candy bars at school. Others were doing the fundraiser and I was doing it for profit.
That's right.
And I didn't, but I didn't even know that was like a career path possibility,
Mhm.
right? Which is a big part of why I became a PT, because it's like, oh, it's a defined,
Yeah.
licensed thing. School was really important and all that stuff. And the thing is, in the world of entrepreneurship, you can learn all this stuff without school. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't need a degree in business. Most people don't have
Right,
that.
right.
You go out and you figure out this other stuff. But yeah, the coach or the learning or working with somebody who's been down that path before, who can help you fill in those gaps and avoid the pitfalls before they become serious,
Mm-hmm.
before they take you out, are
Yeah.
that can be really, really valuable.
And you know, a lot of people are starting to realize the power of having a coach. They're starting to realize how important it is to have a mentor. And when you're breaking out on something new, exactly like Sturdy just told us, we all grew up. I don't know, I'm 45 in the, 35, well, probably about 40, that you had to have that full-time job. You needed to work it until you were 65
Mm-hmm.
years old, make sure you could retire from there, and then go live in Florida somewhere. And that is not always a realistic, actually, a lot of people, when they get into small business, it's because they have a passion and that's something they
Right.
want to do. We don't have that same passion working for Ford Motor Company. I don't know, I've never worked there. They might have great benefits. Regardless, yeah. So when you are telling someone, and here's another thing, I fall down all the time and then I get back up.
Mm-hmm.
But when
Mm-hmm.
someone tells me, hey, I did that too, or I know somebody just like that and this is how they recovered, it's like, exhale. So tell me a client exhale story, because I'm sure there's so many.
Oh, there are. I mean, pick
Yeah.
one. I mean, so I'll tell you one just personally, not the recruiting and hiring, right? Hiring people.
Uh-huh.
I did a talk yesterday to some business for some business owners. I'm like, have you ever made a bad hire? And one of the folks said no, and I'm like, well, how long have you been in business? And now I'm not sure I totally believe it, by the way, because they're like, well, we've
Uh-huh.
been in business for 12 years, like, and you've never hired a wrong person.
Huh.
That whole thing. My first hire was a bad hire. She lasted 24 hours.
Wow.
Well, she didn't do anything she said she was going to do.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
so that was like my first hire ever in the
Uh-huh.
business. And when we met the next day, it was like, yeah, at least she's just straight up told me, yeah, I didn't do any of that. I'm like, but we agreed that you would go do these things. And she's like, yeah, I didn't. I'm like, I'm totally confused. Why, whatever.
Yeah. What kind of business
So
was it?
that was the physical therapy business. But,
Oh my
I was
gosh.
on my own. I hired a therapist who said she was going to go out and talk to these doctors, have these great relationships, and would go introduce herself, as working here and da da da, right? And she didn't.
At
I mean,
all.
she's flat. She didn't. No, I mean, yeah, it was
Did she
kind of
have a
crazy
plan
because
for the future to work, or
uh,
it was just over?
not with us. I mean,
And sometimes that's what's got to be said. Like, maybe this is not where you
like,
need to be. You didn't do anything that you were supposed to. So maybe you need to go find a job where they're okay with that, or one that you want to do.
well,
So,
right,
yeah. So hiring
but
decisions.
hiring decisions and getting to know people, that's a really big one, because it can, there are plenty of other stories. That's just kind of a funny one, right?
Yeah.
But the thing that really happens, and what I don't think a lot of people consider enough. So let's say you have an ice cream shop, right, or a hat shop or something where you're retail, you're brick and mortar, on Main Street. The
Yeah.
folks that you hire for the customer contact are really important, and having expectations, a structure, choosing the right people, and it's always hard to find, right? But you've got to
Mhm.
find, if you find people who are passionate about ice cream or to work in your ice cream shop,
Mhm.
you're going to be more successful, right? Um,
Yeah.
I'll give you another example. My wife and daughter went to this coffee shop that had opened up near her dad's house, and it was, women owned, and it just started, and they're like, oh, we want to go support them. And they went in, and my wife asked, what's your favorite drink or coffee or whatever you have here? And the woman behind the counter said, oh, I don't drink coffee.
Well, do they
And
have
it's like,
tea?
well,
Do
right,
they have
but
a nice
right.
chai?
But there's so many ways to deal with that, right? And these are the things
Yeah.
that owners, when founders don't anticipate or don't think through.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many ways to deal with that. Okay, so you don't drink coffee. You don't have to tell them that,
Or you don't
but
have
you
to be
could
at the
say,
register. Let's just have you make
true,
coffee.
true. But even
Yeah.
if you're there, no, totally true. But even if you're there, and somebody asks that, what's your favorite drink? Go, you know what? This one's really popular.
There you go.
You know,
That's a good
you
comeback.
super simple, right? But you got to
Yeah.
prep people for that. There was another little shishi one that we went to,
Mhm.
kind of Japanese style and stuff, and really sleek, and the coffee was supposed to be really good. And one day we go in there, and the person again at the register is the newest employee. She
Mhm.
wasn't well trained. She didn't know what she was doing, and nobody was helping her. They were
Oh,
all behind, like you said, she should be making the coffee. Yes, except the people making the coffee were the ones that were super serious, hipster type, want
yeah.
to like their
They
craft or
were
whatever. Me,
baristas, and they say it like that
totally.
too.
Yeah,
What do you do? I'm a
right, but
barista. Yeah.
yeah. Meanwhile, you've got a line of people who aren't being taken care of and are getting frustrated.
Yeah. And that girl behind the register, I'm sure is frustrated.
Oh,
Who knows how long she's going to last?
she was miserable. She was
Yeah.
miserable. She's like, oh, sorry. She's trying to figure it out, and nobody's coming to her. She obviously hasn't been trained very well because we were talking about simple stuff,
Right, right.
and
Yeah.
and nobody's coming to help her. Nobody's pointing it out. Nobody's like, oh, let me do that. Why don't you go make this or do that? Right?
Hmm.
No. And it's stuff like that. And by the way, that's one of the advantages that like a small business owner has is very often they're on the ground.
Yeah.
They can see that stuff and do something about it immediately.
Yes, yes, and they're invested. And I feel like that's like an
Oh,
understated thing that if you start a business and you've sprouted to where you don't have to be there, you should be there. You should at least come in every once in a while to maintain
oh,
that what you
yeah.
want is really happening. Because yeah, we can have trustworthy people, but when you're first, if you're even I don't know, would you agree to that or agree with that?
Yeah, I think the job shifts, right?
Mhm.
So when we're talking about those three types of work,
Yeah,
and by the way, I want to talk about management for just a second
sure.
because when we think of managing people, um, a lot of times we've had really bad experiences with that in the past. We've had bad managers, and our role models or our thought process goes to enforcement. It goes to like the dean's office or the traffic cop or those kinds of things, the referee, and
Hmm.
that's not what great management really should be or is. You think instead about the best coach you ever had, right? So if you ever played sports, who was the coach that you really you love and stay in touch with, or the best coach your kid ever had, or whatever, right? And that person, yes, they held people accountable. Yes, they had expectations, right?
Uh-huh.
But they also believed in you and supported you and wanted you to succeed.
Yeah.
And that's the role shift. Like, start the business, you're good at the technical stuff. I see business owners do this all the time. They stay in the technical and they don't transition or at least even take a little bit of time as they start bringing people on and building a team. Your
Mhm.
job shifts to at least some of the time taking care of your players,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So you're there to support them and help them and make sure they have what they need, but also, make sure they're in the right position, right? Like
Right seat on the
the
bus.
yeah, the lady wasn't
So
trained. She's
important.
at the front, the register.
Mhm.
She's not happy.
No,
Customers are not happy, but
no. And if the
but
owner
you're,
walked in, he wouldn't be happy.
well, and they might even be there, right? But they're not
Oh,
doing anything about it to support that person. So yes, it
right,
ends up
right.
being very dysfunctional. Or like the training is watch me for an hour and then cut them loose. I mean, that's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, that you know what, and that is happening so often now. You are thrown
Totally.
into a position and they're like, "Hey, let's do some onboarding. You're going to meet with this person, you're going to meet with this and now go do it. Go do it."
Hmm.
Onboarding shouldn't just be a day, but that's how it goes sometimes. Now, I'm looking at your website. It is wonderful. 5 expert tips for leveling up your customer experience. And let me tell you what the first one is. Don't put the new girl on the register. There we go.
Well, yeah, yeah. So that's kind of what I'm working with owners on now, focusing in on the customer experience because it's a again we're talking to the small business owner
Mhm.
primarily, right? It's a huge potential differentiator, and it's something that you can do, and you don't, and you can do really well. And if you're kind of sitting here going, well, okay, how? Step number one is to ask your current customers why they choose you.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, unlike hopefully our country, this is not a democracy. Okay. Different people have different levels of importance in their opinions and their votes. So you pick your favorite customers. You pick the ones that are happy to pay you, that refer their friends or bring their mom, or tell other people about you, that are just enjoyable to be with and be around. You like serving, you like working with, or selling them whatever it is. That person's opinion matters more. Find
Yeah.
out from them, why do they pick you? Why are you different?
Key
Because they
takeaway, Don't question Angry Joe that always sits in the back and is on his phone and is mad when you sit anywhere close to him. Don't talk to Angry Joe. Talk to nice ladies like Nancy.
But Sarita, you're so right, because
right.
but we're programmed right to react to the negative.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So it's
back to, it's not a democracy. Okay, we want to talk to the people who are supporting us, not the angry man who likes it because it's close to a bathroom.
Right, and we want to be careful too that we don't overreact to the negative, because there will be negatives and stuff, and we want to step back from that for a second and look at it and go, is this person really trying to help contribute? Is their opinion valuable, or do they just need to move along, right? But you'll have people, you'll have staff members, they'll get one complaint and they'll want to fix it. And I, by the way, I had this happen. This is another interesting one.
Yeah.
We have, so about every quarter, we would send out emails, right, to patients, to people who had called us, and to patients and stuff, and just information like, here, if you're having neck pain, set up your computer this way, you can get a riser for your laptop or whatever, right? And we would get once a quarter, we'd have one angry email or phone call. I didn't give you my email for marketing. And this was a point in time, like over that same period of time, we'd have seen 400 new patients. Okay. But the front desk would field that or get the email, and they would say, oh, we have to stop sending those emails. I'm like, what, tell me more. Right. I'm like, yeah, we got a complaint. I'm like, okay, we had a complaint, right? One person out of 400 every 3 months would be upset. So we're supposed to stop?
No, you're doing great. Yeah. Don't personalize. Don't personalize. That's my key takeaway. That one person well, this is a sad thing. It's an old blues song. One monkey don't stop no show.
That's right.
If one monkey is sick that night, the circus is still going to go. All right.
Right. Totally. Yeah. And but again, we react to those things just from an evolutionary standpoint, and our neural whatever, we react to that stuff more strongly, and so we really need to be thoughtful about, does that matter? Is it really important, or can they just you'd be happy somewhere else? That's fine.
Okay. Right. So now we've talked to our base. It's our base. Okay. And then what do we do with that? They're telling us all the reasons they come there. They're super good. Do we ask them, what can we do to improve, or do we just leave that alone? Because then if you don't make the improvements, you're mad.
You're looking for patterns. So as you talk to a few different people, you're looking for the commonality and the common thread in what it is they're telling you. So if the staff, let's say the ice cream shop, you just make, you do a better job of XYZ. If you're hearing that 3 or 4 or 5 times, cool, hang on to that. If it's, well, you just make us feel happy when we're here, when we're greeted, or your counter people are just so pleasant or smiling, or okay, great. Whatever that thing is that's already different about you. You reference all the music. I think about Spinal Tap. Now you dial that up to 11.
Okay.
You're going to succeed, particularly in a small business, by being more different.
The riches are in the niches. They really are. They really are. And if you find one thing that you're good at, don't go trying to do everything else. You know what I'm saying? But build. I love it, Sturdy, because all of the things you were saying, I know it's what gears people to success. So we're looking for patterns. We've already identified who's not a Debbie Downer or Angry Joe. What do we do next?
Yeah, well, start working with your team to come up with new ideas, right? How do we double down on this thing that makes us different? And really, I say talk to your team, because the folks that are there, we want to give them that positive feedback, right? We want to tell them, hey, I've been talking to the customers, and this is what they're saying about y'all. Yeah. And then from there, we want to go, how can we do even more of that? Because again, kind of our programming, right, is to try to fit in. Yeah. So I'm a business coach that wears a t-shirt and a hoodie, and people kind of go, wait a second, why are you not wearing a tie and a
say, because
whatever.
My name is Sturdy. How about that? I don't have to. I'm wearing a hoodie and a t-shirt. My name is Sturdy.
Because I don't want to. But that's not what you're paying for. right?
True.
That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for the wisdom, the experience, some of the school of hard knocks, the mistakes, the things that, we've been through and seen that can help you avoid those, again, those pitfalls. So, but we try to fit in, if you go to a conference or something, right? Everybody's I talk about my background's in physical therapy, right? You can land at an airport and you know who all the PTs are at a conference at the baggage claim.
Okay. And how do we identify them?
Because they're all dressed the same. They're all wearing khakis and a polo or some kind of version of that. And they all, they look the same. They fit it. But that's true. I'm picking on them because that's where I come from, what I know. But that's true of any group, right? And if you get people together from an industry, they're all trying to kind of, the finance bros are wearing their Patagonia vests and their Stark shirts and whatever.
You're
right?
so
But
right.
they're all trying to they're all trying to fit in. And Sarita, fitting in is the path to the the middle of the bell curve. It's the path to mediocrity.
Yeah.
So figure out what those things are that make you different, and that and own it, embrace it, because your uniqueness is why people like you. It's why they gravitate to you. It's why they will do business with you. It's why they want to work with you. It's just keep doing more of that.
The path to mediocrity. Did you just let that sink in, audience? So if you want to be just like everyone else, it's the path to mediocrity. That's terrible, but so true. And I really feel like the entrepreneur spirit leads us to not want to be so much a part of the establishment, to do our own thing. But I think sometimes then when we get there, we want to be back a part of the establishment. Is that, can you relate?
Yeah. And I mean, there's a real need, right? There's a real need in all of us to belong to something, right? We're driven to that kind of thing. So, I just, when I'm working with clients and stuff, I'm like, I want them to think about and be deliberate about what they wish to belong to and where they may need to separate, themselves or their experience for their customers or whatever it is. But, that idea of being different, we are taught from,
kindergarten on.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe we get away with it in kindergarten, but that's about it, right?
Maybe third, fourth grade. Yeah, when you start noticing whose clothes are whose, and you start
exactly.
watching
And
TV.
from there on out, we're just conditioned and trained to, try to fit in somewhere.
Yeah, I want to circle back to what you just said about being. There's a lot into being intentional, and not everybody in every circle is where you need to be. Like when you said that, I was just in my mind thinking that has happened in my life in the last 2 weeks where, hey, there's places I've been going. I made all the connections. I made all the friends. I don't really need to go there anymore. The vibe has kind of changed a little bit, and now I'm just going out of a sense of service. Oh, well, I'm a part of this. I'm a part of this. No, I'm a part of my own thing. And I really feel like there's liberation in that, but it's also always good to be intentional as a small business owner, as any type of business owner. And where are you spending your time, and is it worth it?
Absolutely. I was just talking with a client this morning about that very thing, right? Like they're only, as his team grows, he's going to be moving out of the technical work more and more.
Yeah.
But then the job turns into what we were saying, supporting the team, supporting the people, right? And then generating more new customers, dialing in processes. There are things he can do and should be doing that will be very valuable to the business and to the team. But they only, and actually his homework was to make a list, right? We identified these 4 buckets, write those down, come up with any additional buckets, any additional areas, and then let's think about allocating your time, because you have a finite amount of time that you can do these things. So let's look at, what do you need to spend on it to get a result and to get the result you want. Right. So it's stepping back from the chaos. And I experience this personally, even now, right? Running my own business. There are mornings I wake up and I'm like, what do I do? If I slow down and think, because there's so many things to do, right? And there's so
Mhm.
many demands on your time and people reaching out, asking for this, asking for that, or whatever, want to sell you something, whatever, right?
Mhm.
If you take 10 or 15 minutes and just stop and think, first step, what are my goals? Where am I trying to get to?
Yeah.
Brain dump all the things that I think I need to do today and then match them to the goals. Or if they don't get you where you want to be going,
Mhm.
why are they still on your list?
Wow. That's
And
so true. That is so true. Why are they still on our? I think sometimes the most power in that list is being able to maybe say this isn't a priority. This isn't even something that I
yes,
should be doing. Maybe I should delegate that to someone else. And then I was really
or
thinking about something someone told me, but I don't know how long it's been around. You need to set aside time to work on your business and time
mhm,
to work in your business.
right. And
Yeah.
that on your business is that third type of work, that entrepreneurial
Okay.
strategic work. So
Yeah.
the way I look at them, again, super simple. The technical work is the doing of the stuff,
Yeah.
doing the things, right? The
Mhm.
managerial work is ensuring things get done and that everybody has the resources and stuff they need. So think of that the
Mhm.
coach model, right? Jimmy can't hit the ball if he didn't have a bat. Can't catch
True.
if he didn't have a glove, right?
Right,
So they got
right.
to have what they need. They got to have the practice and training. And then the entrepreneurial strategic work is deciding what gets done. So
Yeah.
again, kind of back to the coach. That's the decision. And by the way, Sarita, for
Yeah.
nobody, this is a big one. If you own a business, any business, and you're in particularly if you have employees and you're listening to this,
Mhm.
nobody else is going to think about your business as much as you do, if at all.
True.
Okay. So that whole thinking about where are we going, what are we going to do, and that that is your job.
Mm.
Right? So you're the play caller, you're the decision maker on what plays you're gonna run and decide on how they're gonna work, where you want to get to ultimately, the direction. You're responsible for putting people in the right positions so that they can succeed and contribute to the team winning, all that stuff. And this is why I like the coaching analogy so much, because the on your business is the strategic entrepreneurial work, which the coach does. The
Mhm.
management is actually in your
In
business.
the business,
Okay.
yeah.
Also part of what the coach does. And then the technical work is what the players do, and that's the
Yeah.
in your business. And our goal is to, if you want to do that,
Uh-huh.
do it because you want to, not because you have to.
Hmm. But I really
Right?
feel like
Your
we all
main,
have to. We all have to have those distinctions. But does it just is it
I mean,
only
the technical side.
okay,
So
okay.
you don't have to be making the widgets necessarily, particularly
Oh,
when you get to any appreciable size. But you
true.
do need to be taking care of your team, and you do need to be deciding on,
The
next
long
steps
range
and strategy
plan.
and what. Yeah, because
Yeah.
nobody else is
Now
going to do it.
it's sturdymckee.com, sturdycoaching.com, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
And the book. So we got three of them down, I think. Did we? So we're
Well,
going
here,
to
let's go through
let's
the
go
list
through
real
them.
quick, because
Yeah.
we kind of mixed all this up. And by the way, it's a pet peeve of mine listening to a podcast. They say we're going to go over 5 things, and at the end of it, you're like, I don't know what the 5 things were.
You hear
Um,
me? Yes.
it
Yes.
drives
I
me
feel like
nuts.
we're on
So,
four though. We got three of them out. We're on four if I'm
well,
right.
we're going to go back to the beginning. So the first
Let's
one's
check them
actually
out.
setting. Yeah, the first one's setting your goal. So this
Hmm.
ties right back into that strategic work. You're deciding where you're going to go.
Yeah.
So set your audacious goal, hopefully around, and we're talking about customer experience now. We want it to
Hmm.
be awesome for them, and in that, aim high, stay patient, and consistency matters a lot more than intensity.
Ooh.
Okay, it is a
True.
long-term shift and change. Consistency over time matters way more than the wow factor.
Yeah.
So set a
Because
set
it's
an
hard to
audacious
keep the
goal.
wow up. It's hard to
Yeah,
keep
it
that.
is.
Yeah,
It
it's very
is.
hard. So, but if you're consistent in what you're doing, then yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
Because we
it's
don't
easier to
want to be
maintain,
on the
right?
path to
Keep it going.
mediocrity. Terrible.
No. So number two is this one: the more specific, the more terrific. So the
Oh,
idea is, if you can listen, and we'll get into that too, but one size fits one. Your creativity counts, so you make it special. So I'll send you a picture. I don't have it queued up, but of, like, we talked about the ice cream
huh?
shop.
Yeah.
Um, there is an ice cream store in Japantown here in San Francisco that makes little, they decorate the ice cream. Okay.
Nice.
So I actually do have the picture here. They, I don't know if we can share it, but they use little marshmallows and carob chips and goldfish and stuff and little pieces of cereal to make a little face of like an animal on top of your ice cream.
Okay.
Okay.
That's their niche.
So yeah, and that creativity, I mean, think about the cost of a couple tiny marshmallows. Don't put mushrooms in your ice cream.
I know that was weird. I didn't know about the goldfish either, but yeah.
No, but yeah, well, they have like holding on to it, right? But a couple carob chips, a couple marshmallows, make a little face, a piece of cereal, make ears on the ice cream, and then people like, you want to be viral, people will literally take pictures of that and post it online and tell people where they are.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
who else does that?
Yeah.
Right? So that's where your creativity comes in, and then you can, they can. Every one of them's different, and they could, if they want to take it up a notch, do a special little one like ask who's your favorite character or what animal do you like or whatever, and kind of do that for the kid or for the person. Anyway, number 3 is listen. Okay. So number 3 is listen actively and respond rapidly. So here's another catchy one. Speed is in our economy today, in our society, speed is caring and responsiveness is respect. So when somebody comes to you with a complaint, let's say, or a compliment, when you respond rapidly, right, and they feel seen, respected, and valued, right? When you're delivering on a service more quickly, they feel like you care more about them.
Yeah.
So now you'll notice we're going to get to 4 and 5 in a second, but everything we've talked about so far, most of it is really way more psychological.
Absolutely.
Than it is like analytical.
Mindset. You've got to have an entrepreneur mindset. When you're dealing with customers, your mindset has to be, I want to treat them even better than I would expect to be treated. If I have a staff, it's all about, a lot of it is in your head. The product comes later. That's exactly like you were saying. Someone's got to have the long range plan. As the owner, your mind, you're like you said, well, if I say that one more time, like you said, but here's another thing. We are the only ones thinking about our business. We're the only ones saying, hey, Sarita, you need to get you another keynote here in the next 2 months because people need to hear what you have to say. And I've got one coming up, but guess what? I'm open for more. However, and Sturdy, you do some speaking too. We'll have to throw that for
sure. Yeah. Well, and on these topics, right? So the next one, let's tie in 4 and 5 real quick. But number 4 is that create magical moments of truth. So that is what those customers, like we talked about in the beginning.
Yeah,
that's what those customers have told you. That thing that makes you different is your potential moment of truth. And that's where you want to be even more creative. You want to be thoughtful about all of the interactions, the touch points they have with your business. You don't want any of them to be bad.
No.
Okay. But so if anything's terrible, when they walk by the front of your store and it's dingy and, whatever, you probably want to clean that up, but that's not necessarily what you want to be known for. Right. You don't want to be known for the amazing facade on your building. You want to be known for the thing that you do. So what about that makes you special? You take that and you dial that up. Okay. And then that's where you really consistently go beyond expectations. But if you think about, by the way, you can effectively be really, really, really good at maybe 2 or 3 things.
True.
Right. 2 or 3 of the items. You can't, if you've got 19 touch points for a customer, you're not going to be amazing at all 19. The good news is you don't need to be. Right. So thank you for the compliments of the website. But if I was a website designer, I would want my website to be really like, wow. Right.
Yeah.
For the rest of us, I need my website to be functional. I needed to have the contact information and tell you what I can do for you. And actually the simpler, the better in a lot of cases. Right.
Right.
Because that's not why people are coming to me. They're coming to the website because they want to get in touch or maybe validate I am who I say I am or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
So that just needs to be good enough. I want to be wow with the other stuff. So let's think about this for a second. For you, right? What if you volunteered to, you got a speaking engagement, right?
Yeah.
I'll come, if you're doing it for an association or for a group or for a company, I'm happy to come in and, do a half hour, an hour talk Q&A just for your leadership group, for a small group in a conference room.
Right, right.
You know,
No, it's going to be an
you're already there.
anti-poverty summit. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah, me and two other justice impacted people. It's from Lead, Missouri. But let me
Hmm.
tell you, iron sharpens iron. So all of these people who are
Right.
change agents need to know this too. That all of this coaching, I feel like it all goes through whatever aspect of your life you're in. Would you agree?
Oh, totally. Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I feel
Well,
like on number three, though, when we speedy reply,
mhm.
people feel cared about. And I cut you off on the last part of that.
No, no, no. I mean, I
The
think
response is,
you see it. Yeah. Responsiveness is respect.
yeah,
Like ignoring you, right, is disrespectful.
there we go. There we
So
go.
responding is respectful, right? So
Right.
if I respond to you and I do so, quickly, it doesn't have to be instantly, right?
Yeah.
People don't necessarily expect that, although the way technology and everything's happening, we seem to expect that more and more.
Yes, we do.
Um, but but if you can do it quickly, people understand that you're on a meeting. They understand you're talking. They understand you're doing work. Excuse me. But if you can get back to them in an hour or two, right, and not 3 days
Mhm.
from now, that can be, that is received as you care about me and you respect my time and who I am
Absolutely.
and what I'm doing, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, that's three. Four is the moments of truth, and five is leveraging the word of
Mm.
mouth. So when you create a great experience for people, right, and they're those folks that you asked, why do you come here? They're already telling other people. One
Mhm.
to one is great, right? But we want to create some way for
Hmm.
them to share it with more people. So,
Okay.
right, reviews, testimonials, stories, case studies, and you don't have to film them doing the story about you. You can,
Mhm.
right? Or but you can also just ask, why. By the way, those little stories about why they chose you,
Yeah.
capture those and reuse them. Put them
Yeah.
on your website. People choose us
Nice.
because this is what our customers say. You want to, I did a review on Google of a park. It's been
Hmm.
2 years, right? But took some pictures because we went to the park to play a soccer match, and there was really nothing on Google Maps about it. Okay, I
Wow.
took a couple of different pictures. I posted, I took a picture of my dogs. They could see you could bring your dog, like nice soccer fields. I mean, I wrote 3 sentences, short, like 6-word sentences, Sarita, right?
Uh-huh.
But the pictures and the review, because when you do this for Google, they send you updates and reports.
Uh-huh.
Um, 6 months ago or so, it had over 50,000 people had seen it,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
right? And my picture is, and I'm not a great photographer or anything, right? But
Mhm.
my picture is the cover picture when you go to Google Maps for this park.
Nice.
And it's not really about me. What it is
It's about the
about that
park.
reach.
Yeah.
How else can I reach 50,000 people for free?
Testimonials. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the tools that are out there are really kind of amazing if we're deliberate
Uh-huh.
again and intentional about how we use them.
Love it. I really love it. So, a speaking event, when you come in, if I'm doing leadership and you're tag teaming with
Mhm.
me, you're teaching them, tell me right now, give me the elevator pitch. And you can't include your name because Sturdy's just the bomb. I would be happy to be named Sturdy. Swear, swear, swear. Now go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, we're going to up level the customer experience to create amazing word of mouth,
Absolutely.
unstoppable word of mouth marketing. Everybody's talking about the marketing, but yes, getting your first customer, you've got to get them in. But if you've got customers,
Hmm.
right, we want to leverage their stories and experiences with us. We want
That's
to
right.
use that to get the word out to more people. We want to make them feel special so that they will come back, right? And
That's
then bring their
right.
friends or whoever. And so it's not rocket science, right? It's actually pretty simple. It's not that easy to execute though.
True, true. So we want a happy person that is interacted with us, a wonderful, very satisfied client. We want that good customer, and we want them to know that we care about them. If we can sum it
Totally.
all up right there, that's it, isn't it?
Well, so think of it this way, right? Everybody's been a
Hmm.
patient sometime, somewhere.
Yeah.
The thing they used to tell us in the PT clinics was, yeah, we were nice and yes, we got them better. But the biggest thing people told us was that we listen.
Hmm. Okay.
If you think about like the training, that's not really part of the training that they get in school,
Yeah.
right? But there wasn't another place in the healthcare world where the provider sat down at the same level with the patient, asked them questions, gave them space to actually finish and talk and figure out what was going on together, and then, and then repeat back and verify that, yes, this is where you want to go. This is the problem. This is what, like, that whole thing is something they didn't experience.
Well, why do I feel like I need physical therapy now? Yeah, like now I need you. Something's wrong with my knee, not really, but Sturdy. Thank you for coming on. I so appreciate it. Valuable. SturdyCoaching.com, correct?
Yes, thanks, Rita. Really appreciate it.
And let me ask you, do you have any events coming up? Where can we come see you?
I don't have any in person. I've got a couple webinars and stuff that I'm doing.
Okay.
And talks,
Well, how do we
podcasts,
find the webinar?
You can go to my website. There'll be event stuff there. There'll be past podcasts and other things. We've done a lot of stuff online, or captured it and put it online. So there's a whole bunch of free resources. Even if you don't want to hire me, or you're just starting out or whatever, go there. There's a ton of free stuff in the blog and resources and tools that you can grab.
But why wouldn't they want to hire you? Of course, you want to hire Sturdy, and then right after that, if you need a different perspective, you need to hire me too. Okay, he's going to show up in a hoodie and a t-shirt, and his name's Sturdy, and you're going to be just fine with it. All right. Thank you so much for coming back to Sarita Talks, and it's been my